Good morning from South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm Klaas, and this off-the-cuff discussion about the past video from Sunday, the farm attacks and farm murders video for October 2023. There were quite a few comments, and I would like to address the comments in the video rather than write out each and every individual comment, because most of the comments are very much applicable to general things that is occurring in South Africa. There's a lot of terminology that is being discussed ad nausea, and I think it's better to put these things in perspective on a video than do mere comments, because only one guy is going to read his comment, and while some of the comments are applicable in a broader spectrum in this video. One of the comments that was left on the October 2023 statistics for the month video was that their country, that the whites should flee while we can because it's their country. It's a very debatable point as to whose country this is. On the bottom line, I can tell you that this country belongs to South Africans. We are all South Africans. There's a lot of black South Africans that will agree with me. There's a lot of black South Africans that is willing to lay down their life for their fellow South Africans, including whites. If you look at trends on Twitter, there's a faction that is very radical, but there's also South Africans that wants the best for this country. So that puts the race aspect out of the way. But I must add further on that if you consider South Africa, the ethnic and race diversity in South Africa does to a certain extent have a very big influence on what is happening in South Africa. Coming back to the history of South Africa, when Jan van Riebeeck first landed in the Cape, he encountered a people called the Khoi and the San, and we nowadays refer to them as the Khoisan. They were the first inhabitants of the Southern Cape regions, and they saw the opportunity. There was an opportunity on both sides, from the Dutch and on the Khoisan side, that there was an opportunity for trade, and that's what they did. Later on, the relationships got a bit sour because Jan van Riebeeck wanted them to help with the agricultural aspect in the Cape. But the Khoisan were nomads, and they were more hunters and gatherers than they were agricultural farmers, planters, if I can put it as such. They've been here for thousands of years, and they mostly migrated from West Africa. Then we have the whites, obviously, that migrated from Europe, and with Jan van Riebeeck settling in the Cape, and then that escalating, and then in the end going over into the British that moved to the Cape to obtain or to secure the Cape region as their colony. There's a rich history stemming from that. South Africa in cultural history is very rich and very diverse. The Nguni people, that's mostly your black tribes and black ethnic groups. They migrated from the Great Lakes region in Africa, and the reason for that were a lot like we have today with Islam spreading south. They started feeling that they should have a place where they could actually call their own and be safe as well. They migrated south, and I like to use the word or the term Difakwane, but the Difakwane is more, yes, it's applicable to the migration from the Great Lakes region to South Africa of the, let's call them the Nguni people, which settled mostly on the eastern side of South Africa. That's your Shangans, that's your Tsongas, your Zulus, Swazis, the Xhosas further south, and then in the central parts, the Sotho people. From there also, the black history there is absolutely fantastic. The way people migrated south into South Africa, and then Mzilikazi fleeing from Dungan or from Shaka later on, and migrating first to the central parts of South Africa, where we have Pretoria, the capital of South Africa today. And then further up north, they migrated further back towards Zimbabwe, and they settled in the area which is nowadays known as Zimbabwe, or Bulawayo rather. There's also a grouping, I read up this morning quickly, there's also a grouping that moved even as further north back to Tanzania, and that is from the original people that migrated from the Great Lakes group region in Central Africa. Then I must just add to that with regards to who South Africa belongs to, who certain areas belong to. When the Boers or the voortrekkers, as they are rather known for in this context, moved north to get away from the English colonization, they moved into the central and the eastern parts, and with them was a guy called Piet Retief. Piet Retief secured a portion of land from Dungan at that point. Then there was the murder on Retief and his contingent of Boers, and from there on the history actually escalated. But there is still some Zulu side that honors the purchase of that purchase agreement of that land. To say that South Africa is whites only or blacks only is also far-fetched. If you look at what happened later on in years, and you see South Africans going into the Second World War, you will also find, and even in the Anglo-Boer Wars, that you will see that there was a lot of blacks that was actually fighting with the white Boers. So it makes it a very difficult and a very debatable point to say that this is their country or this is our country. Because like I said previously, is that South Africa belongs to South Africans. And if you feel that your own race is, and I'm trying to be very unbiased on this one, if you feel that your own race has got the right to South Africa, then you differentiating yourself from what a lot of people in South Africa feel, that they are South Africans and they have the right to South Africa. So it doesn't matter what your race is, it doesn't matter what your ethnic background is. If you feel that South Africa belongs to you and you want prosperity and peace for this country, then you belong in South Africa and South Africa belongs to you. I'm going to address some of the comments individually. So if my eyes move around towards I've got two screens, a screen here on my left hand side. I'm going to read some of the comments, and I'm going to comment on that as well, so that it gives better context to anybody who's listening to this feedback. First of all, we had a comment there. We've been at war for 30 years and more, and sadly few people are paying attention. May God soon rescue us. And yes, you should show show the attacks, and so that people understand the gravity of the matter. Been at war for 30 years or more, yes. South Africa is not a war-torn country, but there's been a lot of conflict in South Africa. And if I look at that portion that says, sadly few people are paying attention, I'm going to interpret it as you said it, and but I'm also going to comment in a spectrum that is much broader than just South Africa. Since the inception of mankind on Earth and the entrance, and I'm forgive me for being a bit biblical here, but since mankind has been established on earth and the introduction of sin, there's always been, and even before that, in heaven, has always been a war between good and bad. And that is the foundation, if I may, for what is happening in South Africa, what is happening worldwide. Because there's always the aspect of good on one side and evil on the other side. There's always that fight. And like you said, yeah, may God soon rescue us. Yes, we are in an era that has long been expected. If you look at events around the world, then with a bit of effort, you can connect that to what is said in the biblical book of Revelation. And yes, we are in the revelational times. We are in the one of two tribulation periods of 3.5 years. And war is a part of this, because evil will forever try and overpower good. And the good is, to put it bluntly, the good is people that belongs to God, irrespective of race, creed, or color. And bad could be anything, could be with the same criteria, irrespective of race, creed, or color, or language, or yeah, let's keep it at that. So to say that people are not paying attention, yes, people are not paying attention. The period that we are living in, people should open their eyes. People should know what's going on in the world. To see what is actually happening is all part of a greater agenda. It's let's call it a script. A script is being played out, and we're all part of that script. We are all included. You can't remove yourself from that script and say, but this does not bother me, or I am not going to partake in this, because you are going to be drawn into this whole thing in the end. Let's look at the next. Somebody says, yeah, I'm so sorry, you guys are on your own and pretty much always have been. I wish you all could be left alone and live in peace. I'm with you guys and praying for you all. It's to be a South African is to be in a unique situation, but not that unique either, because there's also abroad there's a lot of people that are pretty much left on their own. Even nowadays, I'm looking at Southern Europe with the influx of migrants from North Africa. It started with an inflatable boat over here and an inflatable boat over there, reaching the shores of Italy first. And then you see how things are escalating over the past year or so, where more and more of these boats are coming into the shores of Europe and integrating with the Europeans, if I can use it. I think that's the most neutral term. But South Africa, yes, it's been a unique situation, because in the end, the prosperity that South Africa enjoyed for so many years started becoming under threat, and it's been a battle for, yes, since it's actually a battle for almost 50 years, because the first farm attack in South Africa, the first act of violence against a farmer, stems back to 1972, when a farmer was abducted with his vehicle and he was moved into the bushes, and he was shot from behind. I'm not sure what I didn't get his name. I did not write his name down when I watched that TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Committee video yesterday. But the lady there, she spoke of her husband that he was abducted I think in 1972, if I want to use an exact date. Then the one comment here that was get out while you can. They want their country back. I think I've addressed that quite thoroughly. Uh, and also the one that was here, why is no one mentioning the racial aspect? No, I'm not scared of mentioning the racial aspect, because we must accept that there is the racial aspect in South Africa. And I'm not talking, don't get me wrong, if I say racial, I'm talking about diversity of race and ethnic grouping in South Africa. Like maybe ethnic diversity, we can be matched by East Bloc countries where there's, I think one country has got something like 235, 230 odd different ethnic groupings. That's in the east of Europe. South Africa, we have quite a few nations. We go to start naming a few. We've got the whites, we've got the Indians, we've got the colored people, we've got the Khoisan, we've got the Zulu, we've got the Swazi, the Xhosa, and I can go on like that, and on and on and on. And yes, in South Africa there will always be an aspect of race, but like I said in the beginning, is that irrespective of race, there are South Africans that really wants peace and prosperity for this country. And even in the black community, there are people that is actually heartfelt about farm murders. So farm murders, irrespective whether it's focused on white farmers, I can tell you now, it's not just focused on white farmers. There are black farmers that's being murdered as well, and I can name the case in Bloemfontein, which is in the central parts of South Africa, in the Free State province, where the Tladi family was attacked. I think that was in September. Mr. Tladi was murdered and his wife severely beaten. So the fact, if you want to say that it's only whites that's been, no, there are black farmers as well, unfortunately. If it wasn't, then we could have said yes, it's directed at white, and there is the perception of white genocide when it comes to farm attacks and farm murders in South Africa. Now, before you say I don't know what I'm talking about, you must remember I'm a South African from South Africa, but I also understand a lot of things globally. I understand quite well, because I have read a bit up. I have read up a bit on a lot of things. There's the comment here that somebody made: only civilians who are wealthy should be allowed to own firearms. Now, if you look at what the case is in the US, the Second Amendment, your right to bear arms. So the right to bear arms, I'm sure in the US, the Second Amendment does not exclude lesser fortunate people from owning a firearm. In the end, it's your right to protect yourself, to protect your person, as the people in the United States believe, and it's your right to bear arms. It doesn't. It's not applicable to each and every country. I don't think anybody is going to be very comfortable if a civilian walks around with a 38 on his hip in Germany. And then also in the UK, for instance, you're not allowed to carry a knife. You must have a defined purpose for it. I think you must have a permit as well. If somebody can correct me on that, I would appreciate that. And then the one comment here is who gets to define wealth. Now, wealth, for one guy, is to be of a lower income, but you have food on your table every day. That's wealth. For somebody to have a few meager possessions that he treasures and that he keeps up or maintains on a daily basis, and that's specific, let's call it a bag of goodies, secures his survival. It's his wealth. Um, I don't think money uh, defines wealth. You can have a lot of money, but have no spiritual strength or spiritual riches. Uh, and are you wealthy then? You can have a large portion of land, but you might still be poor. So you might have nothing, but you still are wealthy. So wealth is everybody likes to define wealth in terms of worldly possessions, but that's not where we draw the line on this, because wealth is a whole lot of other things as well. So to say only the wealthy should be allowed to bear arms or to own a firearm, I think that's maybe a bit far-fetched. And I'm not criticizing you for that comment. There's somebody else that criticized on the comment on the wealth aspect. So I want to address a couple of comments from Twitter, which are quite important. But before I do that, I am busy on a series on total onslaught on South Africa, which with regards to farm murders. And at this stage, I've completed the first part 1, which is the pre-1994 years, and I'm busy preparing for that. When I'm going to release the video, I'm not sure, because there's a lot of, I'm discussing a couple of cases, and I'm discussing a case specifically, a very emotional case, I think, for a lot of people, in terms of an attack on a family, or an unfortunate event that two families were involved in. And then I'm also going to discuss a few cases and then go into depth in certain aspects or certain newspaper reports on the police competence, and also on the statistics. And with that, I'm going to quickly go over to Twitter and go and address a couple of things over there. I released the video Farm Murders and Attacks in South Africa, October 2023. I released that, or I promoted that on November the 7th, which was on Monday morning. And one of the comments that came out is, unbelievable. Is anyone being held accountable? And like I said in the second part of the Total Onslaught video, I am going to address more complete the aspect of accountability with regards to statistics and everything. But what I said, our greatest battle, this is our greatest battle, the accountability. And yes, there are people serving life sentences for farm murders. There are people that is being tried at the moment. Unfortunately, the incarceration figures are not at all measuring up to the amount of farm attacks in South Africa. The big thing that we're battling with regards to farm murders is arresting, trying, and sentencing. If I come back to the trying of the trials, the lack of evidence aspect is probably the one of the biggest things, because there is an inability of the police force, which has been, and it's not my opinion. There is an inability in the police force, and some of the police will will probably agree with me. And I must add here that in the South African police services, there is a very, very, very thin blue line. You can look at two cops and you won't be able to tell which one is clear, which one is dirty. Because there's so much corruption in the South African police force, and there are still a few people that believe in the police. There's few people that still holding on to the value system that the South African police service should follow and should uphold at all cost. One of the aspects that came in that came out on the newspaper report that I will address in part 2 of the Total Onslaught is the fact that the ability to extract evidence from a crime scene is not one of the strongest points of the police force at the moment. The allegation is made in that newspaper report that visible policing is getting a higher priority than properly training detectives. There was an incident last week in the beginning of end October, beginning November, when the Minister of Police, Becky Cele, visited the town of Brits, which is northwest of Pretoria, with regards to the ongoing crime and corruption, and including farm murders in that area. And the leader of the Bitter Einders movement, Devin Hofmeyer, actually addressed the Minister of Police, and he was almost at the point of pleading with him that the people on the ground have the privilege, and that's the word that he used, have the privilege to protect our own, because the police just can't anymore. And Minister Becky Cele never answered him on that. And it's to stand there and say, but this is our need. We need to start protecting our own. And you're saying that to this guy, and he just stares at you blankly. I think that is one of the things that would frustrate anybody absolutely to his roots, to stand there and say, please, let us protect our own. Give us that right. Give us that, not right, he used the word privilege, like I said. And nothing came of that. There were talks between Cyril Ramaphosa, which is the South African president, the deputy president, Paul Mashatile. They actually took Cele on a couple of weeks ago with regards to farm murders. And they said to him that the move to protecting farmers should actually start becoming more defined and more a more direct approach to this, more attention to the aspect of farm murders. So that's where we are with regards to evidence and the police involvement, the police ability and activity to address the aspect or the dilemma of farm murders, because farm murders is not just farm murders and attacks are not the events or the activities that is being executed, or the certain actions that's been executed during a farm attack, that defines what is that can be used as and say, this is the crime, this is the crime, this is the crime. So that's with regards to the accountability. In the end, getting a guilty sentence in a farm attack or a farm murder is quite difficult in South Africa. I'm going to address the final one here, because I don't want this video to be too long. people are actually commenting that have commented on the site that the videos are getting a bit long. But the one comment that I'm going to read it to you. Point is not if it's old or new. The violence in our country is out of control. It is a reality, and murder, rape must be stopped by government with far urgency. And I've just spoke about it. I just spoke about it with regards to the police's attention in this matter, and in the end, unfortunately, uh, like I said, and like I touched briefly earlier on, is that it's yes, it's unstoppable. And the comment that I made here was that government won't stop it. Simply for one thing, is that there's a greater agenda, and that greater agenda, the South African government or the South African president is part and parcel to. So to say for a Sunday newspaper to post this big article about farmer tax and how it works and everything, to call this minister or the deputy president to say that we must do something about farmer murders, comes down to one thing only. It comes down to shilling. It's a matter of we are showing you that we want to help with farm murders, but in the end, we are not showing you anything because we don't feel for the plight of white farmers or any farmer in South Africa that is contributing to the economy of this country. Post 1994, this country started deteriorating. I can go and show you in the little town of Komatipoort, coal trucks are standing 3 abreast, 2 to 3 abreast, 4-5 kilometers long, loaded with coal that is being taken through the border, dumped at the little station of Rossana Garcia, where it's loaded onto trains. Yes, trains, that there is on that route between Rossana Garcia and the Maputo Harbour, there are 4 trains a day. I went and I counted them. 2 going to Maputo loaded, 2 coming back from Maputo empty. Now, where those trucks are standing on the road outside of the town of Komatipoort, and I know I stayed in Komatipoort, from where that road is, not even 5 kilometers, there's a double lane railway line or double railway line that used to be serviceable, that used to carry trains on a daily basis, goods trains, passenger trains. There were trains coming through from Mozambique to Komatipoort train station to come in and hook all the freight to take across the border. And like I say, if I say the greater agenda is has been from the beginning, has been to demolish this country, to get rid of the essential and very, very involved or very developed infrastructure in this country. And I can go and show you where a railway line is, because I just need to look at the poles that used to keep the electric lines up. But there's no electric lines. Stolen for copper, yes, definitely. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I got a bit excited there in the end. But yeah, thank you for all the new subscribers. Keep that notification bell ringing, or keep it on, keep it selected so that you can get new notifications. I never planned on this video, but when I read through all the comments this morning, I said, let's quickly address it in the video. So I don't know how long this video is. Apologies if it's longer than the 12-minute video that I anticipated, a 12 to 15-minute video that I anticipated. But yes, thank you for commenting, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for everybody's compassion and empathy to us South Africans. I thank you all.